Cool. You've got yours there. Ooh, you know what I've got to do? I've got to tilt this. Isn't that exciting?
Yeah, a bit further out.
Actually going over here. And there we are, syncing back up.
We're going for it.
Alright, my turn now. We're going to go for episode 2, Just Discourse. We'll start off with guest number 1, Jamie Abbott, everyone. Hello, sir.
Hello.
You sure you don't want
How are we doing, Jamie?
You sure you don't want to break stuff and do... Shut up. You sure you don't want to break and actually have something fizzy, or you just want to stick with your water?
No, I'm not a monster boy. I'll let you guys get your energy drinks in.
Oh, that's what we need.
That's very good.
That's a new one.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that before.
So we were
back with the drug addicts and trading estates.
Yep, got me done.
I know my life would peak.
Circle back around.
Yeah.
But you're sitting in private place though. You've got the comfortable sofa. You can really spread out if you want.
That's true, actually.
You will get a crick in your neck trying to talk to me, but you will spread out.
One of these books has got to talk about asserting dominance. Just. If I can just take over this, that'll be fine.
Yeah, that'll work out. We were talking on the way here.
Yep.
And I had to say, oh, we need to stop, otherwise we're going to run out of stuff to talk about. Yeah. And we were arguing over the most recent Marvel films.
Right, okay.
So I was saying how Doctor Strange, the most recent one, and...
No, I haven't seen that one. That's not the one with Spider-Man, is it?
No, that's actually quite good. The Spider-Man 3, that's good. But the Doctor Strange into the... We're going to fucking fall out, mate. Into the Multiverse of Madness, and then like the Thor, Love and Thunder were just shit.
Yeah, Love and Thunder, I've seen that, and that was... And I liked Thor, like out of all of them, I think Iron Man's probably top. Then I think Thor was probably second. And I watched Love and Thunder all excited for the 4th instalment, and it was diabolical.
Okay. I wasn't that keen on it.
What do you think of Ragnarok?
Ragnarok, I thought it was good, yeah, I like that.
Okay, so out of all of them, that's not my favourite for Thor.
That's the one with his sister, isn't it?
Yeah. In terms of who's... Oh, what's her name?
That's good.
Kate Blanchett.
That's not a name in the film, though.
I'm the ultimate villain. My name is Kate.
That Taika Waititi joke that he would make.
That would, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
But he was saying how he didn't like Dark World.
Which one's that?
Second one. Second Thor.
Exactly. Can't even remember which Thor it is.
He's had a long day. He's only slept 5 hours. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
If he got 20 hours, he still wouldn't remember the second Thor.
He would. Christopher Eccleston, Thor was on the London Tube. Come on.
Oh, yeah. And
don't do that.
Jane's like the main character, basically.
Until he turns up. Great, I'm outnumbered on this one.
Yeah. Wasn't 100% on that.
Oh, fuck. Whatever.
I was barely 20. 15%, I'd give it that.
Whatever, man. Fine, because I'm outnumbered on this one. Do you want to leave already? Because I've invited you here. You fucking ruined this already,
man. It's a long way. I'm in the training estate now, so I might as well just see this through.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
But so Jamie, again, this is our first meeting, so...
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit, about yourself and...
I am a professional musician.
Excellent.
Living in Dubai,
Very nice.
weirdly. And been
what's
doing...
that like?
What's that like?
Compared to the UK?
Dubai compared to the UK, I mean, first of all, got to understand, it is a dictatorship.
Yeah.
But...
A good one-ish.
I guess, well, I mean, yeah, for us it's a good dictatorship because we get, money and stuff. But the UK, it's a lot harder to do what I do and have a comfortable life compared to out there. Yeah. And it's almost like you're swimming in a slightly smaller pond, because they want to bring you out there, to do what you do. And I've been out there for like 5-6 years now, so I've got myself to a place where musically I'm in a good place. People, it's like networking, everyone knows what you can do. Exactly. And so they're like, okay, we want to pick you for this, and it feels like a place of opportunity for me. And also I come back to England now and I see like the teacher strikes and the train strikes and the strikes and the badgers are striking, and it's just like not as...
Well, it's a growing nation, isn't it, Dubai? So it's like it's in its infancy still.
Yeah, so it's in the fun bit.
All that opportunity, to try and get out and do what you want. Whereas, as you say, there's probably not as much opportunity here as you really hope for.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know how it is for you guys, but it felt, when we got the opportunity to go out there and do it, it really felt like, okay, this is something I can latch onto.
Yeah.
And, well, in a way, I can't remember what it was, there's a quote about success is preparation and, a bit of luck. So I was still trying to make myself practice my music. I was working in Sainsbury's and I was singing at 7 a.m. in the morning, practicing my scales while I was doing the cans on and writing lyrics down and then forgetting where I put my lyrics book, and people would be like, "Is this yours, you weirdo?" And stack your beans. Okay. But eventually, when I got the opportunity, did the audition, and I was one of only 2 keyboard players, and you have that competitive moment of you're looking at, okay, what's that other guy doing? But I don't think he's as good. So I kind of was like, I think I'm in. But they had like 5 guitarists, 5 drummers, a whole bunch of singers. And then you're on the plane, you go out into the Middle East and you walk into a working oven. That was the first thing of like, oh my God, I'm actually here. I'm actually in a foreign country. And then, to be honest though, when I say that I do music out there, I do play music. I play it in bars in front of people. We're not necessarily part of the music industry, we're part of the hotel industry.
Okay, brilliant.
We're like a bunch of napkins, but more expensive with better hair.
Yeah.
Well,
in your opinion.
And I'm sticking to it, assert dominance.
But I suppose, over there, the hotel industry is massive, isn't it? Because obviously most of it's, other than oil, most of its income is through the tourism sector, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's something that they really tried to gun for and expand. Like, they got the birds, they got this. I think Saudi Arabia started building weirdly, because we're in bars, we meet a lot of random people. We met one of the guys who had worked on the Burj Khalifa, one of the architects, and then there was a team of them and they were just getting drunk. Told me apparently they don't use blueprints anymore, that's like just in films. Anyway, Saudi Arabia's building a bigger building, like something bigger than the Burj Khalifa. And this is how they described it to me. Dubai built the biggest dick in the world.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia wants to get out a bigger dick. So Dubai is preparing themselves to get an even bigger dick that's going to outdick the Saudi Arabia.
Okay, they're going to go out the atmosphere, aren't they?
Well, they said that apparently the problem with the one they're trying to build is they've already started putting in the foundations. This is 5 years ago. Who knows if the project's snubbed, if it's whatever.
Yeah.
They said they'd already started trying to put in the foundations. They didn't know how they were going to make the top stay because it would sway 5 meters to either side because of how tall it was.
Well, I think, interesting you said that, I think the Burj Khalifa, I was reading, it sways 15 meters.
Really? Is it 15 meters?
15 meters.
Wow. That's not surprising because you and I went up.
Is it 15 meters?
What floor did we get to?
God.
We got to like 100.
To be fair, my information may be wrong. It's been a long time, and it was in a bar.
Drunk.
Yeah, drunk.
Because I went out to see Jamie 2016 for a week, and we went up. What floor did we get to?
120.
No, it was 100 and something.
Yeah.
It was.
What was on that?
150, 160, something like that.
Yeah.
So
I might need to Google it, but yeah.
Yeah, it was.
You get to the observation deck, it's about 4/5 of the way up.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think the last fifth is all residential, isn't it? Yeah.
Is it residential? I thought it was just.
I could be wrong. That was my understanding.
Could be. Nuts. I mean, if it is, then there's absolute ballers living up there.
That's nuts.
Yeah. There's plenty of ballers in Dubai.
Yeah. Well, I just remember just the whole thing because where we got into it was through this enormous shopping mall, and the shopping mall is just gigantic. It's so
it's
big.
The biggest one in the world, or it was when I last went. It was the biggest one in the world.
But we were going through, and I realised I was at scale.
For tourists, great. For us, horrendous, and I never ever want to be in there because obviously it's just insanely big. The traffic is terrible.
Yeah.
Everyone goes there because they don't know Dubai and they want to see all the aquarium and stuff. It's like.
Well, I was going to say that was the crazy thing about it. You're walking through, it's like any normal shopping mall. And there's an aquarium with a fucking 10-foot long shark going through it, and I was like, just swimming along next to you, just mind its own business. It's all good. Don't worry about it. Mental.
Well, so what I was talking with a friend about, and it's that I think the greatest thing about Dubai is because it's still new. I mean, what's it like 25 years really, or 30
Something
years
like that, yeah.
since it really started, kicking off. I think probably a lot more over the last 15 years. Is, you say you go to London and places like that, you've got some beautiful architecture and stuff like that, but everything's dirty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas because everything's like brand new, in Dubai. I know they clean and keep things nice and tidy, like mentalists over there, which is great.
Yeah.
But also, because everything's brand new, everything's just so nice, tidy, clean.
To be fair, one thing that I do love about the UK and those places is that there is a sense of identity to London and even to Abu Dhabi that Dubai doesn't necessarily have, because it's very money orientated. You know, you've got big skyscrapers, and you've got all the things that make a city work, but you know, it is all
flash.
Yeah, it's all very flash. It's all a bit soulless. Abu Dhabi, there was something which really anchored me to the place. It just felt a bit more warm, a bit. Oh yeah, an amazing thing was the first time I heard the call for prayer in Abu Dhabi, because all the buildings are quite close together. So it echoes through all the buildings because the mosques are everywhere. And it was incredible. And that was one of the times in the UAE where I was like, I am in a different country now.
Yeah. Do you think they built the infrastructure purposely so it echoes through?
Potentially. It's a good question. I don't think so. I think that it sort of naturally happened that way. But it's really incredible. Not if you live right next to the mosque and it's 5 a.m. in the morning and they do their morning prayers, but yeah, it had soul. I feel like it had soul. You could go to the corner shop and get this like 1 dirham with like 20p bread, which is just incredible. There were little family areas, like open areas where people would just come down and play football on a free pitch and things. And I feel like there's less of those in Dubai. It's all, you know, you have your gated communities, you have your you have your areas. Everywhere's, you know, you drive a car to here, you drive a car to there.
It's all, most of it's like, there's like one main road that goes through everything, isn't it? And then it's all like and the veins off of that. When I went, we stayed in the hotel. We went to, you know, a couple of places like the Gold Souk and stuff like that.
The Gold Souk, as in like with all the like, what's the word? That's really.
It's just like a whole street basically of just gold shops, or jewellery shops. So.
Yeah.
And it's a lot cheaper out there than it is over here. Or it was.
I think now prices are more expensive here. I think in London, it's still pretty insane, but in Dubai in general, like the cost of living is pretty high. Pretty high. So if you don't have like a fairly decent job, it's going to be tough. And also they can just like deport you if they want to.
Yeah.
So if you get like hepatitis or something, they just be like, okay, on a plane, bye.
Really?
Yeah. Just get.
Well, I know that it's illegal to be in debt over there, isn't there? So there's like a car park.
What?
There's a car park. I think it's like a Muslim rule, isn't it, that you can't be in debt or you can't gamble and stuff like that. And effectively, debt is like gambling.
You can't gamble for sure out there. I think being in debt.
It's illegal. Yeah.
Wow.
And there's to the point where they've got a car park in the airport just full of like abandoned Lamborghinis and all like supercars where people have obviously got in trouble and thought, I better get out of here, otherwise I'm going to be in trouble.
I was talking to a guy who went through the 2008 financial crisis, and he said that so many people just went to the airport, left their cars with the keys in, got on a plane.
Just ducked out.
Yeah, with their whatever loans or whatever thing, because just take that money.
Go find a place with no extradition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the UK.
Do we have extradition? We must do have extradition. If other countries are like, look, we need him back, we'll be like, okay, we'll get him. I'm sure we must. It's going to be like these weird places like Gibraltar or something like that that doesn't have extradition.
Really?
Yeah, or like South America or something.
Well, I suppose it depends if they're an ally, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I mean, I'm not going to do that.
Don't get involved in that.
Don't need to get involved in that, you know, because also I really love the job that I'm doing. So
are you like play in a band in hotels and stuff like that, or you travel around to various different
we play in
establishments?
Big sort of bar clubs, I guess. Right now I work for Solutions Leisure, and it's Lock, Stock and Barrels. These are the bars that we work in. Really great venues, like hundreds and hundreds of people fit in there.
Is there a lot of drinking? Because again,
there's a hell of a lot of drinking. Not from us, so actually legally we're not allowed to drink in the bar.
Because you're working, or?
Because we're part of the band and we're working. And then we have to leave the venue after we're finished, which is a kind of a lifesaver because in Bahrain we didn't do that and we drank with everyone and it was insane. And I drank more in that 7 months than I did my entire life previously. It was really...
Sounds about right, yeah.
It was really something.
Sounds like a good 7 months.
So you went out there, right?
Yeah, so I went out there, family when I was a lot younger. So I think the oldest I was on the last holiday was 16, something like that.
So they didn't serve you a bullfrog, I'm guessing.
What's a bullfrog? I don't even know what that is.
Vodka, rum, tequila, gin, another alcohol,
whiskey,
Red Bull, blue stuff.
No. However,
that's like a killer zombie.
Obviously, I won't say which hotel it is, but bearing in mind I was 16, everybody else I was with who was younger, because I was the older brother, we would go to the bar in the hotel, and they would serve us, and we just put it on the room tab.
Hell yeah!
And they didn't care.
Insane.
Which was great for us, but then you look back at it and you think, like, especially again for a non-drinking or like a Muslim country, that they, they'd be completely adverse to it. But
oh no. There's plenty of alcohol consumption done in Dubai and in those places. It's just don't take the piss, I guess. Like if you start taking the piss or whatever, I mean, some English lot will go over and it's the English thing of let's start a fight, do it, whatever.
Yeah, typical Brits.
Yeah.
Watch the football, 10 pints.
Yeah.
Have a scrap.
But if you do that, then unlike in England where you might get a slap on the wrist or whatever, they're like, okay, you're going to go to jail and then you get out of the country, kind of thing. So,
which I don't. I'm always I'm a advocate for freedom of speech and movement and stuff like that. But there are certain things like that when they. Again, as males, we tend to have an aggressive tendency, and it's always good to have a good scrap every now and again. But to the point where like, as you say, when they're out there, you're in a city centre or you're around other people and children and women and shops and private organisations, it's not really. Well, I think it's unfair to put that type of thing on other people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, there's a story of. One guy in particular, musician, who got employed in an Abu Dhabi hotel, and he basically had a drunken episode where in the lobby of the hotel he was going around shouting Allah Akbar, and he smashed a glass table and did all that stuff, and obviously immediately arrested, passport taken away from him, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But
chucked in a dungeon.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I believe that he was allowed to go around, but they took his passport so he couldn't leave the country.
Yeah.
And luckily, he had family to stay with in Dubai. But still, it's like, how dumb are you? How dumb are you to do that? It just, it kind of boggles the mind. Like sometimes when I'm thinking, fuck, I feel like I should be working harder and doing better. Sometimes I see something like that and think, I'm fucking killing it. I'm doing a great job,
Well, you're not getting fights and getting thrown in prison, so you're okay.
Yeah. I fucked up a solo a bit, but did I traumatize businesswomen, women and children in the morning in a hotel and lose my job and the other person's job that I work with? No, I didn't. I didn't do that. So.
Well, I think that all comes down to the conversation. I can't remember if we were having it or with another friend about tolerance. And how, the intolerant countries, they tend to be, strangely, in the grand scheme of things, the safest, because they're intolerant of, certain violences like that, et cetera, whereas in this country, we're so tolerant of everything. Do you know what I mean? We're so, everything's going so far to the left these days that we just tolerate all sorts to the point where, are we 10 minutes in yet? Where... Like these days, they're trying to legitimise like paedophiles and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's why I said the 10-minute thing.
Yeah, to give a nice boy out.
Exactly.
Nice boy clock.
Is there like a 10-minute where suddenly?
I think there's a YouTube algorithm that sort of scans at scale. So it's just like 10 minutes of specific stuff.
Wow.
Just to make sure you pass that pretty much. Then you can say what you want.
I was worried there was going to be some sort of like challenge, like, okay, 10 minutes of fun, now you eat a raw onion or something. You know?
Well, that's 20 minutes in.
Yeah. You got to do a burpee within each bite.
Yeah.
While you're chewing.
Prepared for this.
Yeah, you got to do it. It's kind of points to that. It's the problem is you've got some places that are where, as you're saying, we're incredibly tolerant of a lot here. They're incredibly intolerant of a lot. So it's kind of two ends of the spectrum. Neither is where you want to be.
Yeah.
By the way, if you don't mind me like temporarily derailing the podcast, but what made you guys want to start a podcast? Because obviously Matt's my cousin, but
yeah, you can't tell from the hair.
Yeah, same. But you know what? I know that you had a podcast before, but what made you guys want to start one?
Well, so my side of things, you know, I like, you know, Matt and I, and you know, various of myself and my friends, we have, you know, quite in-depth conversations, like to the point sometimes we're sat there on the phone for like hour, 2 hours, just talking about, you know, quite in-depth subjects. And you know, I think, you know, it would be nice to share those with other people and see if they have, you know, the same ideas, thoughts, and values, or if it might help people. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm at a point now, so I'm a, you know, a business owner, and we were talking about on the previous podcast that you get to a point where, you know, I'm getting to a point where, you know, in the next sort of 6 to 12 months, hopefully my business should be in a position where I can start, you know, taking some good money out and enjoying it. And the little bits of money I have spent, you think, oh, you know, this is what I live for, you know, I want to do it so I can spend the money and really enjoy it for myself. And then I found pretty much instantly that you have I'm not joking, like half an hour, maybe a day's worth of enjoyment out of spending, stuff on yourself. And then, you know, I tend to, or I've found over the last year or so, that I get more enjoyment out of helping other people, and it's a longer lasting, you know, feeling. And it's great to be able to see, you know, it's great for me to be able to do well, but I think it's better to be able to see your friends, your family, and your community, you know, excelling and you helping them push through that way. So I thought, well, if we start a podcast and talk about various different things, because there are a lot of people out there that, you know, I've had very good role models in my life. Don't know about you guys, but they're, you know, speaking to a lot of friends and other family members and stuff like that, they don't always have those role models to be able to sort of talk to and discuss different things with.
Yeah.
Well, because for me, growing up, so Jamie is 4 years older than me. So growing up,
4 years.
Yeah.
It's weird to me, but it always feels like I've always felt like we're closer together.
Yeah.
Just sorry. Anyway.
No, it's fine. Yeah, because our birthdays are 9 days apart. And so for me, growing up, we used to have a lot of like family holidays. Or even just, you know, away at the weekends, and it would be with Jamie and his sister and parents. So a lot of my formative years was with him. So my reading was encouraged by him, because he introduced me to different sort of like university, different books to read, different things to watch and play, and all that sort of stuff. And we were talking about it earlier, but you, in your own way, Jamie was always, whenever I'd seek like the easy things from like an early age, he'd always show me the value of going for things that were harder or more of a challenge. So, for example, the first example I have of this is there was the Xbox game, James Bond GoldenEye, and there was like a great game, multiplayer version where you basically it's the two of us versus like the whole team of everyone else. And all I would do was just park up in the middle of like wherever, like a heat-seeking rocket, and just fire at the sky, and it would just find a target. Whereas he would sit at the end of the map with a sniper rifle, and he would just wait and just take people off. And I'd be like, why are you doing that where you can get the heat seeker and you get so many more kills? He was like, yeah, but where's the fun in that?
Yeah, that's boring, isn't it?
Yeah, he's boring. There's no challenge. It's not difficult. You're not growing or anything.
Well, the excitement comes, as you say, from the challenge and knowing that you've done something that's hard. Do you know what I mean? Like you can all do the easy things, but you get no satisfaction out of it at the end of the day.
And Jamie was always reinforcing that, whether in this or other stuff. But it took me years to fully appreciate it. So that was a role model for me growing up.
Yeah.
That's nice. It's nice to hear that you've been led astray.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I stopped when I turned 20. I was like, look at his fucking hair.
I'm done. That's me out.
As soon as you went to Dubai, I was like, oh god.
Yeah. But Matt just rolls his eyes like, time for me to be the role model.
Yeah. I'm stepping up now.
It's your time now.
Yeah, that's why I have a sensible haircut and almost a full sleeve. So there we are.
getting there.
Yeah, just got filling in though.
But yeah, so going back to the podcast point is that I think I was considering creating a podcast myself, and it was not long after me and Matt used to work together when we were a lot younger, and then I think did we randomly bump into did we bump into each other in Reading or something like that?
Yeah, literally just
and then, got chatting again, and then thought we've got to catch up for a drink or whatever like that, and we went out for a meal. And then about a month or so later, I was talking to my partner about it, and I was thinking, look, I want to start a podcast. And she somehow knows one of Matt's friends or something like that.
Yep.
And she said, oh, Matt does a podcast. And I was like, I didn't even know that. So I literally text Matt straight away while I was there. I said, mate, you do a podcast, I'm thinking about starting one. Let me jump on yours. We'll see how that goes. And then, potentially we could team up. And then we're here.
Well, I think it was a good sign when we did 4 hours sort of straight off the bat. I was like, yeah.
To be fair, like I've only met you for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yeah, something like that.
You seem very sort of like you guys are sort of quite focused on the things that you want, concise. Do you know what I mean? It's that.
Well, we did a section on the podcast, didn't we? Which we kept going back to is I'm quite analytical, and Matt's like quite creative. But we both have, like, as you say, goals that we want to achieve, and we're quite driven in order to, get towards them. And the point we kept circling back on it, didn't we? You have conversations and it goes off on a tangent or something, and then it always ends up back at the same route.
Yeah.
And it was good. It's good to find that we've got those things in common. And then it was like, well, fuck it, let's go on. Let's jump on and see what we can do.
As exemplified by your reading list.
Exactly.
Have you read any of these?
Sapiens, yeah. I really liked Sapiens.
Oh,
I thought it was fantastic.
I knew I had it here. That's what I was talking about earlier. Did you want that?
The War of Art, right, okay.
So if anyone hasn't, you need to read The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. It is a fucking awesome book, just about whatever endeavour you have, you need to treat it as a job. So you turn up every single day. You put in it the same amount every single day, and it will, with time, it will get there.
I'm going to put this back because it's very.
No, let's pop on the top. It's all good. We're fine. Ignore me.
Very
dickhead.
Visually, it's nice on top.
It's out of place now. You ruined it. All right, fair enough.
I'll turn it kick it over.
Yeah.
Assert dominance.
is that
by the way,
catchphrase of the day?
Our uncle Trevor. Everyone, I mean, this is not helpful for a podcast at all, but everyone makes a joke. On a train, he's one of those dudes that just has his legs so wide that he's taken up 3 carriages.
He's a big boy.
So every time he comes in and sits down, everyone just shouts "Trev Train," and we all just put our legs as wide as possible.
There's always one, isn't there?
There's always one, yeah.
That's the kind of family we come from, I guess.
Yeah.
Quite, quite tight knit in a way.
Yeah.
Play a lot of games and obviously.
Which is nice, especially if you've got a big family. It's nice because you hear a lot of people that have quite large families, and then they end up just breaking off, and they don't tend to spend a lot of time together, which is.
Well, we're kind of at that point at the minute because everyone's. I think the youngest out of all of us is 21 now, so it's not like we were geographically a lot closer when we were younger, obviously, because everyone's doing their own stuff. But it just means that when we are together, is make the most of it. Yeah,
but it's again, I'm sure you guys have found it with a lot of your friends as you get to the sort of 23 to 30 age. Is you used to be with your mates a couple of times a week.
Yeah.
All the time, every Saturday, all the weekends and stuff like that, and you realise, your career starts building up, and that starts taking precedence over things, which is a shame. But again, we've all got to go our own ways, haven't we, to to get where we want in life, really, don't we?
Yeah.
And to be fair, Matt, you were talking about the people who you surround yourself with being really, really vital, and it seems like you've got quite a good group of people around you now that, from your words, are kind of pushing you to where you hopefully want to go, trying to improve your income, trying to improve your just skills, and I like that a lot, actually, because there was a point where well, I think, you know, barring time where, you know, you're just surrounded by people who just want to get pissed every day.
Mm.
And out of the band, the first band that I was in, I'm pretty sure only one of them is still working in music.
Damn. Is that the one? Is that the band I met?
No, that's no, yeah, that wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, no. Yeah, I think there's only one who's still on the circuit, the drummer, and I think he really did love the music. Actually, no, there was a singer who did it as well, but she took a long time sort of art to get around to that again. But yeah, there's being when you around the right people, and that's why I'm with Katia, my girlfriend, who's very, very driven and health oriented and wants me to take responsibility and expect me to take responsibility.
Yeah, of course.
For, you know, for keeping up the house, making sure that I'm working hard and getting better at what I want, and also enjoying myself. Also, she's not just like, I'm going to work you till you drop. She is like,
for perspective, she's got bigger guns than you, mate.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Fair play to her.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, you know, that's the thing. As you say, the people you surround yourself with are the ones that are going to help push you forward. And I can't remember who said it, but it was you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most of your time with.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, you know, as soon as I heard that, I was thinking, right, I need to start up in my game. If I want to get to the levels that I want to get to, I need to start, you know, surrounding myself with people that are going to help push me forward. As you say, whether it's in, you know, health and fitness or business or, you know, just socially and things like that as well.
And do you feel like you're on the right direction?
Yeah, you know, it's a like everything, it's a constant journey, isn't it? You meet some people and you think, oh, you know, they could work in a certain aspect in terms of, you know, like have people that I go to the gym with, you know, sort of that avenue, and then, you know, people I do business with, people I do, you know, things socially with. You try and, as you build those relationships, you'd like them to all sort of, you know, become congruent, where, you know, you can do all of everything with all of them. Or even, you know, like Matt's probably more the fitness orientated person out of our pairing, and I'd probably say I'm more sort of business orientated. But we both have that, you know, passion in mind, so then I can help him with various different things in terms of, you know, money and economics and that type of things, and he can help me on the, you know, the adverse side of things.
I would be interested to ask, so for each of you, so more business based, more fitness based, and I guess me a bit out there. What's one thing that really surprised you about the business world, or something that helped you succeed that was, you would say you would never have imagined that was something that you could use, whether it's, you know, being really just great with people, or whether it's like a particular avenue of earning money, or like a version of creativity, or just, I'd be interested to know if there's something which really surprised you as you've sort of accrued.
So I found, you know, from a younger age, especially when you watch movies and stuff like that, and you look from an outward perspective, is you think that everything is cutthroat and you've got to be extremely hard. And, you know, in some aspects you have to be. You've got to be strong in your conviction about what you're doing. But I found that with, you know, especially with business, the best types of business is when you can actually build a proper working relationship with people, in terms of, you know, you get along with them, you know, you're truthful, you do what you say you're going to do, you know, you pull through. If there's issues, which there are always going to be issues, you know, you don't shy away from them. If I have an issue, the first thing I do, try and work out how to resolve the issue first, and then I'll call the supplier or call my customer and I'll say, look, this has happened, this is what I'm going to do to sort it out, blah blah blah. And communication in that aspect is key, because you know, I've done it when I've worked with other people before. Something goes wrong and they think, right, how are we going to get out of this situation? In more of a negative way, they're thinking, right, I don't want to tell the customer, I don't want them to know, right, how are we going to sort of white lie or even lie to shift the blame, or shift, you know, how we're going to manipulate this situation. Whereas I found most people are understanding, you know, shit goes wrong all the time, and as long as you can confidently take on the subject and be like, look, this has happened, this is what I'm going to do to fix it. People will appreciate and even respect that more than you sort of lying or trying to
really
skirt around the fact.
That's good. I like that. Yeah, because I've never really had to do any of that sort of businessy side of things. It's been very sort of selfishly focused on me and what I can do, not what other people around me need to do and can do, and
Well, I just find at the end of the day, whatever endeavour we decide to take on, we are the product. Although whatever I sell or rent in my business is the product to the customers, I win the business by showing them that I will be able to successfully look after them and have their best interests in heart, rather than thinking, oh, I'm just going to do this just to get money out of them.
Yeah.
And I think, especially in business and socially and various other endeavours, people can sense that quite quickly.
Yeah.
I find it like, for example, you go to a restaurant, and the service is absolutely dreadful, and you're like, why am I paying for this? Like, I've earned this money, I want to come here and enjoy myself and pay for it. And then you go to another restaurant, Quattro's for an example, they don't have to do this, but we go in there, how's it going, Max? You're right, like, nice to see you, blah, blah, blah. They're all over you, like, they might give us a free starter or something like that. And it's like the little things like that really keep you going back and think, well, especially for a local business like that, I would much rather spend my hard-earned cash with them than say go to a big chain or something like that, where you're not really going to get that personal level of service.
That's good. Yeah, I want to hear your thing about fitness. So, well, I mean, he's lugged you into the fitness category of his life.
Fine, I'll say that.
But I do want to know. So, and I know you're big into your fitness now, and you're especially trying to go professional. What's something about the world of fitness that has surprised you?
That surprised me about the world of fitness. I think the biggest thing that surprised me is how few people, as a percentage of the population, actually have exercised or do exercise. Which is fascinating, because I was very fortunate to grow up in an environment where I was put into exercise early. So, not like you, it was football for like a year or so. And then wasn't really my thing, so moved on to judo, jiu-jitsu, and I kind of found my place from there. Well, there's some people, and so going to the gym or anything like that is just kind of like tunes you. It's not like the main thing that I would be doing. Or because when I was discovering the gym was when I was still training properly, still fighting all the time. So going in at that point would be just sort of adding on the last little touches or whatever, just gonna make you a little bit stronger, a little bit faster, a little bit bigger mass, a little bit more flexible, stretching out, whatever. But there's some people who literally, bar like walking to work, they've never done anything. They never cycled, they've never competed physically, they've never had that, they've never striven to try and find their physical limitations. So I know where my limitations are. I know where I'm strong, I know where I'm weak, I know what I'm good at, I know what I'm bad at. And I think people who don't know that, it gives them, it generates a sense of insecurity in them, and you can kind of sense that with people, because then socially they kind of act that out.
Interesting. Because
we're not in a place where we're not a physically reliant society anymore.
Yes,
we're in a socially reliant society on each other. That it's about manners and the court of law and all sorts of stuff, and just being nice to each other. It's not. We're not ruling by, the will of might. Whereas if that was the case, then everyone would have no choice but to be physical.
Yeah.
But I think that we have a physical and a biological need for that, and people are neglecting that, or haven't been educated on it, or have been told that, if you lift weights you're a meathead, you're an idiot, or whatever.
Right.
Where you've had that whole classist thing at different times of, we're looking down on the working class because,
and also I think there's a lot of people who get self-conscious about it, where they'd say, because they can't do it at a young age, they then really get a sense of, that's not my world, I can't do that.
There's an element of that for sure. But
I think the most hated subject in UK is PE, no? I don't know, that might have been a few years ago, but I thought that was...
I think for chaps like us, probably not, but again, I can imagine for quite a few people there is.
Yeah.
But in terms of...
So if you're, I don't know, if you're overweight or if you're uncomfortable, like, in that field, or you feel bad, it seems like...
And they tend to shy away from it, don't they? Like
yeah. And
fear of
also
failure
feel like they're
type
being,
thing.
like, you know, just embarrassed for no reason.
But then that specific example you just gave of someone who is overweight, who is disliking PE, that will loop back to our previous point, because we're good at doing that, about the example that you sent me from an early age of doing things that are difficult and hard because they're better for you. Mm-hmm. If you're fat, PE is the exact fucking subject that should be ideal for you, because it won't make you fat.
Exactly, yeah.
And it will make you better and make you healthier and not die of fucking diabetes. Which is, that's the exact example. That's what PE should be for. You might not like it, but that's because it's making you sweat more. But that's, for whatever reason, there are many reasons why people get overweight. For whatever reason, you are overweight, so you have to obviously address that and do something about it if you want to have an improved quality of life.
Does that apple mean that the thing's still working?
It's all good.
Okay, good.
It's still working.
Just a very nice screensaver.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah,
it's lovely.
But I think we did discuss it in the last podcast. Is a lot of, I don't know if it's the school system or just how society sort of pushes it on people. Is that so many people have a fear of failure?
Yes.
And then you realise,
yes.
I don't know about you guys, but for me, I never really had a fear of failure, but I learned that me actually failing sounds ridiculous, gives me the confidence to keep going forward, because you fail and you think, it's not as bad as I thought it was, but I've learned this.
Yeah, precisely.
So next time I go into it,
it's never as bad as the failure itself.
Yeah.
Well, there are more.
The thought is way worse than the reality.
Yes,
and there are more pertinent and worse things to be afraid of. Like just the failure itself of an endeavour is obviously not nice, but you learn from the things that are not nice. And there are worse things out there than just failing at something.
Yeah, I had the extreme version of approaching a girl I liked. That there would be like 100 things going through my mind. Of
telling you what's going to go wrong and why I can't do it.
Actually, apparently that's also a biological thing of males. 100,000 years ago, tribes were very small. There was only about 150 people in a village. So if the male walked up to a female and screwed it up, then all the other females would know, and your genes would be weeded out of existence.
That's interesting.
So a lot of most men will get that thing of they see a pretty woman that they want to talk to, and then they get the messages in their head saying, "Oh, you don't want to do that." Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never thought about that before, but exactly that is. I assume if you did fail and you didn't procreate, that'd be effectively your bloodline.
Yeah.
Over.
So getting over it is really, really hard. Like, I've been, rejected, and also to be fair, the nice thing about if you go up to someone and they're like they might have had a bad day, they might have had the worst day in the world, and they do not have time for you, and you just interrupt them in the worst moment. And, that happens.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do is just try and leave them a little bit happier than when you met first, than before they met you. And if they say fuck off, okay, have a lovely day.
At least you tried.
And that's the worst thing that can happen. Short of them swinging a fist at you, which has never happened. If you go up to someone, they're not going to do that.
Exactly, it's unlikely these days.
It's funny you say that about it might have been a bad day, because that's literally because we saw Band Max earlier. Yeah, and it was a similar sort of thing. It was like when happened with him. And he was saying there was that girl we met at the bar, and he acted like a right idiot and made it look like she hated him. And then then messages him asking him for his number later on.
Yeah.
It's funny. There's the thing about the 150 is called Dunbar's number, which is by Robin Dunbar, who's an evolutionary psychologist.
Ooh, interesting.
So that's where the 150 came from. But it's a similar thing. That fear of rejection is a similar thing about public speaking.
Interesting.
The public speaking, the idea being the fear comes from if you were ever in a situation where you had to stand up in front of everyone and speak in that scenario, it's because you were pleading your case for your life because you've done something wrong, and that's where the fear came from. Because if you get it wrong, they're going to kill you.
Wow! No way.
Which, as a theory, is fascinating. You're like, that would make a lot of sense.
My gosh.
It's interesting, isn't it? Really interesting.
Gosh.
Because when you think about it, if we're standing up in front of X number of people, there's no material cost to this.
Yeah.
There's no physical cost to you speaking in front of them and making a fool of yourself, or anything. We're talking about fear of public speaking.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we've done that a lot because on stage
you're in front of people, constantly. But we're saying how it's
and all eyes are on you.
Yeah, but he was to the same point that you were saying about how your rejection, you get the fear from that. Yeah. But the idea being that the same thing from public speaking, the fear of that, or people are scared of it, is that historically, if you're ever in that group of 150 people, if you were in that position where you had to stand in front of that many people, you're standing in front of the whole tribe, pleading your case for something you've done wrong, so they won't kill you, and that's where the fear comes from.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So if you fuck up, they're gonna stone you to death.
Yeah,
or whatever.
basically. Yeah.
Which you'd know about living where you live.
Yeah, absolutely. It's to be fair, I
just a Friday,
just like you, like I've fucked up so many times on stage, but that is a thing you kind of get over gradually. You still have the nerves a bit. You know, there's never that moment. I think if you reach the moment where you're just completely like, this is going to be easy, that's kind of when the magic of the live performance goes down a bit. Yeah. So I played in a small bar for a while, and when it reaches that point where you're just kind of like, okay, this is the same thing and it's happening again. I'd still try and make it interesting for myself.
You're going through the process rather than...
Yeah, I try and get new songs and try and improve myself. But that sort of audience interaction thing and the sort of that, all the little butterflies in your stomach when you're just about to go up on stage, you don't get that as much. So it's nice to have that new challenge. And that's actually what's really cool about the company I do now is they have 5 venues. 4 Lock Stocks and Atlantis on the Palm. They have a Wave House, and that's more like family, kids and whatever. But we rotate through them with 4 other bands.
Yeah.
And we get to do those every week, and it's really good. You get that sense of freshness with each play, so the audience isn't getting bored of you, you're not getting bored of them.
Yeah.
But it's still it's still a great place to play. You know, we're not having to go to a venue which is like, oh, okay, there's like 3 people here. These venues are like big and there's people and
flat out all the time.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the Wave House is not flat out, but I kind of wish it was.
Yeah.
You know, the food there, amazing. Like we go there and it's like, when you go to Lock Stocks, like, ooh, what's on the set list tonight? And when I go to Wave House, it's ooh, what's on the menu tonight? Yeah. It's a bit of a different mindset, but.
To your point, I think there's a distinction between nerves and excitement. Because are you ever nervous?
Yeah, a little bit.
Really?
So there's always a little bit of sense of.
Does that come back to the confident aspects though?
No.
So if you're confident in your ability, you're probably going to be more excited about performing.
I'm confident in what we do. I think we're one of the best bands in Dubai.
Okay,
I'll straight up say it. I think we're one of the best bands.
You've seen us play. You've seen obviously me, Robbie, and Max's live frontman Caleb as well. He's so annoying as a frontman because he's so fucking good.
Well, that's the thing. So I'm not the frontman in this band. I'm like
no. But you take your turns. We
take our turns. Yeah.
You know, take a look around with Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, but I mean, every Solutions band. So all 5 of these bands.
Hang on, I'm giving you praise. Shut up. Sorry. So he's keys and backup vocals. So he's on to the side. Okay. Their closing song for some of their sets is "Take a Look Around" by Limp Bizkit. So the singer gets off. He puts everything down, and Jamie picks up the mic. So he's doing the full-on Fred Durst, sprinting up and down the fucking stage doing it. And I remember him coming back, and we played Your Old Neighbour's Back Garden Party, and we played that, and he just took over, and he played it like it was a fucking stadium. Yeah. But it's just this little, it's like twice the width of this room, this little garden. And it was just there, like, this guy's presence is just ridiculous. Obviously the hair helps.
That makes it easier. They're looking at the hair, so they're not focused on what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Not the sound.
Yeah, but like every band in Solutions is like players who have got good experience. Yeah. They're good at what they do. They've got personality, and they know what they're about. And also the dynamics that they put together. So I really like what we are is we're sort of the bit of the alternative, I guess, music group, because you have a rule in our company, 30 songs for each band, nobody else can touch.
Yeah.
which means that we can't play Hotel California Zombie, Bohemian Rhapsody, blah blah blah, because that's taken by Gorgeous George, which is one of the bands. We can't do 99 Problems, other bad stuff that Red Light does, or 13 Days, or do Foo Fighters. So we have to think a bit outside the box, and the personalities that they put together, or that it's sort of a bit of luck and a bit of judgment. Louise is an incredible frontline singer, but she's also never been in a band before. So she gets up there and she can just take the room like that. Like, I don't think I've seen many or any performances where people applaud after the first, before the second verse.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Then, I mean, if she doesn't get her, and she usually gets them, Moose can come out and do like Gangster's Paradise, and he's an unbelievable frontman. He's been doing it. He's like for 20 years. And he's insane, and he's our guitarist.
Yeah.
And then if that doesn't work, then maybe I can get them. And if that doesn't work, Dave's drum solo, 99.9% of the time, will make people like go crazy. And so there's a lot of strings to our bow, and the personalities and the abilities all kind of work together quite well. Yeah, I'm happy with how it is. But sorry, going back to the nerves, I still get the nerves every now and again, but I think that's good. I think it's good to have.
You've got to have some element of nerves, haven't you?
Yeah.
But so then, I'm just trying to theorise from situations I've been in. As you say, you're always going to have the nerves, aren't you? But is it when you've got the confidence, or at least you've got the experience, you can control those nerves better because you're confident in your ability, and you're going to perform.
Knee shaking, all that stuff.
Because you're still not 100% confident that whatever I'm as your product, that they're going to enjoy it, or the people you're performing for are going to enjoy.
I think I'm not so worried about that. I'm more like a little bit nervous of it's live. What could happen? It's just that there's always that of going on stage where you don't have 100% certainty that what's going to turn out now is going to be great or bad, or we think it's going to be pretty freaking good, but we never know for certain. I mean, there was one gig where Lock Stock JBR is the biggest venue that we play in. It's, I mean, that place can take like 1,000 people, and they, the whole front line, so my keyboards, just my keyboards and Moose's guitar cut out. So it was guitar, the bass had his bass amp, but that was it, and the singers, and that was mid-song. And suddenly we're sort of like, oh shit, we've got nothing. And so Louise is kind of having to sort of, oh god, okay, panic, but get them singing along with it, and we'll just finish with the bass and drums. Audience barely realised because they were smashed and they were having a great time. Finish the song. The last note, I think, is when my keyboard and his guitar turned back on. When it suddenly went, bah! Okay, great, thank you very much, blah, 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 blah. But that anything can happen, and now the rhythm players use that as an excuse to say we don't need you.
Nice.
we don't need keyboards and guitar.
Well,
we don't need bass drums and singing.
Yeah.
When I saw Matt a couple of times, especially for a small band, they haven't got any like sound engineers or anything like that. It's just themselves. It was great to see your confidence when things did go wrong. Because then I said it before, as like if someone, Robbie, one of his strings broke or something like that, they'd start doing a bit of jazz music in between just while he's doing that, and everybody's obviously like still in the mood, still keeping the crowd up, everybody's still enjoying it, which was great. And I think didn't you have like a beer fall over on one of the speakers or something?
The beer was on the speaker, and it just like blew off the back, and so I was just like, shit, there was just beer like everywhere in the extension leads and the power cables. I was like, no. So it was me and I think the bassist's girlfriend dived over the side, and we were there just like frantically, like just trying to just dry it up. And then obviously the rest of the boys was there like, anyway, nothing to see here. So anyway, how you guys been? You had a good day? They just start talking shit to the crowd or whatever.
Wow.
But yeah, there we go. Obviously we fixed it, and it's still a great night.
Yeah, I mean, almost the worst thing you can do in those situations is start
Well, it's nothing. It's freeze.
Or panic.
Trying to cover it up.
No.
Well, yeah, when you play it off, and I think that's what you guys did.
Yeah.
The crowd got it. We're in a pub, so it's a small band. They know it's not going to be a huge. Not going to have like 10 employees running around sorting everything out for you. So it was good to, as you say, because you didn't panic and you sort of confidently played it off. Everyone sort of loved it because they saw your confidence and they saw that you're having a problem, but you're dealing with it and you're cracking on and trying to keep the show alive. Which
that's a good thing. We had a band before which, if we ever made a mistake, instead of just smiling and playing on, we go ha as loud as we could, using it into the mic.
Yeah, that's good.
And
you make it obvious,
wouldn't
you?
Scream that I could do it. So every now and again, so people just hear this ha. That's good. That's good. Something up. Yeah. Oh.
It goes back to, I guess, my point of saying, with the customer, is you just, open and honest, get it out there. Do you know what I mean? You say, right, again, with what I do, I say, look, this has gone wrong, this is how we sorted it. But with you guys, you're like, you make it obvious there's an issue, and then you just crack on and deal with it.
Yeah. It's a very good point, because it's the exact same thing happening in real time, because the audience is everything. It's like that's the whole reason that you are there is for them, to give them a good night and give them a good experience.
Actually, you talked about the thing that surprises you most. You talked about the thing that surprises you most about the fitness, is people not exercising. The thing that's really surprised me about music.
Hang on. No one wants to hear. So Max, go on.
Moving on.
Yeah, go on.
Damn it. The thing that surprised me a lot about music, which kind of changed my perspective a lot on it, was the audience isn't able to hear anywhere near as much as you think. So when you are in that audience, even me, when I'm in the audience, I'm not hearing exactly what these people are playing like from their perspective. It's a very different world, and I can remember this very clearly because it was the most terrifying gig I'd ever done, and it was my mum's band, musician. Just the first time we'd sat round the kitchen table, we just got our rehearsal books open, and then she gets a call. It's the local sports club. Their band can't play. Mark, can you help us? And she just turns around to the room and says, do you guys want to do a rehearsal live on stage?
Yeah.
And we said, okay.
Nice.
Crack on.
And I was somewhere between the age of 16 and 18. And I didn't know many of the songs. She was whispering the chords in my ear as I was playing them. I was terrified. Absolutely terrified. There were points where I didn't know the chord. I was just miming. I was just whatever. And people didn't notice. It was fine. People enjoyed it. It was good. I was like, oh, okay. Because you go up there thinking people are gonna be laughing at you and they're gonna go like, that's rubbish.
Yeah.
But they don't. They don't know, and that changed a lot of what I thought of. There's a lot of things you can get away with on stage if you just puff your chest out and just do it.
And just confidently crack on with it.
Yeah, and I've even been in a crowd watching another band play, and I'll say that was great, I loved it, and they were like, that wasn't a great gig. I didn't know that. It was great.
I enjoyed it, and I'm the crowd, and that's the main thing.
And there's so much of like the vibe of it, and some might say a bit of the alcohol of it and whatever. In fact, one of the guitarists, really good guitarist from one of the other bands, came to see us, and I'd been a bit like about my keyboard sounds all night. I was a bit down about it. Went to talk to him afterwards and said, how was it? How are the keyboards? Were the volumes okay? Was the volume okay? And he said, I think the bottom one was a bit quiet. And I was like, the bottom one wasn't turned on. And that's not saying, he should have noticed that. It's like, he was having a great time. It didn't affect his enjoyment of the night. There's not many people going there looking like, right, what's he going to play? Actually, no, I'll tell a lie. There was one guy. There was one guy.
There's always one, though.
There was one fucking guy, and he did this. We requested Hotel California the first night we came to a bar, which is when you're nervous and you've not done it, and you're like, I'm going to do a 6-month stint here. You're a little bit in the chest. Crested Hotel, California. The dude walks onto the empty dance floor with a chair, puts it right down in front of the stage, sits his motherfucking ass down, and just goes like this to the guitarist. He's right there. And it's like,
Christ, what a lunatic!
The pressure.
Okay, And to be fair to him, Jim, the guitarist at the time, did a really good. He's got a guitarist. He did a really good job, but it just that sort of. He even said to himself, "I'm going to be your worst nightmare." It's like, are you? You're just a
punter. What are you doing?
You're just a guy.
Yeah.
And he wasn't that bad. Like he's just a guy. But I think that was his. I'm going to make you hate me before you hate me for being me. There's that kind of, trying to puff your chest out the wrong way, I guess.
They want to put as you say, what's it called?
Yeah,
right. I'm in charge here.
It's assert dominance.
Maybe I learned from him.
Yeah.
That's where he picks
assert
up.
Dominance.
Yeah. So you to be fair, you're always going to get guys like that. I guess in business as well, right? And in your
it's just life, isn't it?
Yeah,
you get it all the time. And I've actually found that the people that do that the first, I don't know about you guys, are the ones that tend to be the least confident.
Yeah.
Yes.
The ones that are like, right, I've got to do this because in my mind I'm either not confident in my ability or I'm in my position I'm not respected or blah 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 whatever. So they're like, right, I've got to get head first to try and, as you say, assert your dominance and control this situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is
brilliant.
Is this the motto of the day? Assert dominance.
Exactly. Yeah.
It is, mate. You brought this on us. Yeah.
You started it. If you notice, you were the first person, so maybe you're the most.
I'm here to bestow dominance.
Bequeath that gift to us. Yeah.
You're welcome, boys. Take that home to your wives and families.
But they're the ones, when I see chaps like that, or come across people like that in business. Over the years, I've become pretty good at sort of dealing with them because you just sort of allow them to have their little bit, and then you sort of slowly chuck in a lie to the point where I will, you allow them to crack on in that way, and you're like, oh, okay, and you start asking them questions, lead them up to the situations, and then if they, basically they end up falling flat on their face because they're so keen to assert their dominance that they often trip over themselves in their endeavour to do it, and then as soon as they do that, bam, straight in, then you assert your dominance that way.
For people like that, for both of you guys, particularly in your example or anyone you can think of, would you say that they were physically dominant?
Most of the time, no.
No, he wasn't.
There you go. That's why.
Exactly.
And that goes back to my point.
Damn it, he's asserted his dominance style dominance.
No, if
you're so wide, they're meeting around the back of the chair.
That's the thing. If you physically don't know yourself, then you're going to be there like twitching, like I have to just, it's that insecurity and that fear. It manifests in another way because those needs aren't met. And it manifests in a way of...
Go on.
Well, it just manifests in a way of that. Like that dickhead who was to prove that he had to try and put his mark on it, or you get people like that who are naturally blusterous, and then you realise that within 2 sentences they fall apart.
Yeah.
It's because there's no substance to them. Whereas the people, like you hear this about UFC fighters, the dangerous people on the planet, and they're like the nicest people. It's because they know themselves, they know who they are.
Was it we spoke about it last time with Jordan Peterson, wasn't it, when he said,
"Oh yeah."
Was it? I can't remember the exact language he used, but he was basically saying that as a man, you've got to be capable of being dangerous.
And it was a nice man is not a nice man because he has no other choice. A nice man is a nice man who is capable of being dangerous but chooses to be nice.
Yeah. Because if you're weak,
you have no choice.
You have no choice but to be weak, don't you? But if you're strong and have the ability to, let's say, kick someone's head in, but you choose not to.
And you said you help them
it
across
shows
the road.
It shows real strength and maturity in your conviction and your character that you don't need to assert that, even though you've got the ability to.
The dangerous side of it, okay, I understand.
From the male aspect, I mean, women I don't think will appreciate that aspect, but say someone's breaking into your house, you've got to be able to be, maybe that's not the right word, but dangerous or at least confident enough to know in yourself that you'll be able to deal with that situation and that you won't allow them to hurt your family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but then again, surely the confidence could be used in a different way to us. Like if you apparently a good way to make burglars not want to stay there is making loud noises, like, you know, making a lot of loud noise.
Like sex noises.
Whereas you...
Yeah, that'll put a lot of people... Just make those kissing sounds.
Making noise at the top of the thing, they're going to not want to hang around because they know you're around and they know you're there. Or you could, like, you know, being dangerous sounds like, oh, you would just go down and, like, you know, try and land and potentially get yourself, you know, killed.
Okay.
It seems a bit...
There's a subject of nuance here, okay?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Jordan Peterson thing, just because he says stuff which, to guys, I think would feel quite good to hear.
Right.
Do you see what I mean?
Right.
And he will say things which I think might be true, but I also think he says a lot of things which might not be.
Such as?
Well, to be fair, I don't listen to much Jordan Peterson.
So your opinion is founded on what?
Okay, he said some quite like anti-trans stuff, and when I've seen him talking
which were?
I can't remember.
Did he say anti-trans, or did he say that he wouldn't be legally obliged by the law to change his language?
Look, I'll hold my hands up and say I didn't do big research into this at all. Yeah.
Fine.
But I see some bits, just bits and pieces. You know, everyone's been force-fed these clips of Jordan Peterson because he's everywhere. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
And I can feel you getting furious with me.
I'm not furious. I just I'm
not angry. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Your whole persona just immediately changed.
It's because right now, Jamie, you are embodying the gentleman you two have just described. You've made a point, but you failed in 2 sentences.
Maybe, yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah. To be honest, it's
as long as you recognise that.
Okay, yeah, I can't say, this is why. You know.
Mate, I would love for you to have receipts. I really would. I'd love for you to be able to back up the point here.
Yeah, it gives me a bad vibe. You know when you just get the sense of like, he's almost like saying, he's saying what I want to hear.
Right.
Like he's saying the thing that I think, I'm a man, I'm an alpha man. Yeah, okay, great.
But he is by far from, other than his confidence in speaking, your average alpha male. Do you know what I mean? In terms of his stature and his physical ability.
Yeah.
He, you know, to give you a bit more context in that situation, he even said, you know, I've had trans students and stuff like that, and I will call them whatever pronoun they want to be called. That wasn't his issue. It's when the Canadian government were trying to make legislation into law that if he didn't, it was a crime to, you know, to misgender someone or something like that. Which his
that's not right.
His argument was, we live in a freedom of speech society. You know, we live in a free country. How can the government tell me what I can and cannot say? That was his point. It just happened to be based on the trans subject. It could have been a different law of saying he couldn't say something else.
And is that the only thing he said that's about the trans argument?
So that's my understanding. I don't, you know, I watched him, you know, quite a bit. I've seen hours and hours of what he says, and he's, you know, he's not, he's not even, he's not even adverse to trans people or, you know, that community. He was just adverse to the government.
Article C16.
That's it. Forcing him to have to manipulate and change his language to serve them, basically.
That's really interesting.
And as I said, he openly says, you know, I had trans students and I called them whatever pronoun they want because it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
You know, they're happy with it. You know, we got on well, but he just wasn't being dictated to by the government about what he could and couldn't say. But again, we see this on special social media and stuff like that. Obviously, you got the big Andrew Tate thing.
Is that what's happening right now? Is it once again?
I haven't watched too much.
I get
me neither.
I get a pretty bad feeling from what I've seen of that.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. Now we're not comparing Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate in any way because they are completely different.
Tate does not look good.
Beasts
does not look good
at all.
No.
You know, Jordan Peterson is, you know, an upstanding member of society who's helped various students, etc., etc., etc. And then obviously you got Andrew Tate, who has got
some very serious allegations.
Yeah, very serious allegations, and what appears to be, quite a sketchy or sordid economical history in the way he sort of the businesses he had and made money, which I think most of us don't agree with if they are the. Because he did like online chat rooms or something like that. Women like
it was that
webcam business. That's what he started.
It was that, and then managing OnlyFans.
Yeah, and then he was basically exploiting all the customers. So like, he would get the women on screen and stuff like that. But then he would be like doing the typing in the background, and he'd be like, look, come and meet me, blah blah blah. I need 10 grand for a new bag or something like that. And obviously these desperate guys or girls would just send the money in.
Yeah, that's a crazy industry, that is.
Jesus.
And obviously he's, in terms of, the way Jordan Peterson conveys himself in what you were sort of making the point of the masculine tendencies. Obviously, Andrew Tate, it's probably 5% of what he says I do agree with in terms of, him saying that, males need to take ownership of their lives, extreme ownership of being able to perform, look after their family, provide for their family,
loyal, be ambitious.
Yeah, exactly. But then you've got that 95% of it where it's just sort of pure arrogance,
and all that
isn't it?
craziness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which again, we only see what we see on social media, and I'm sure there's an element of acting there where he does it because he wants to. Provoke people. Well, I think we've spoken about it before as well. Is if you're
on Max's guitar post.
Yeah, precisely. If you're
his guitarist apparently posted my favourite my favourite guitars.
His favourite guitar post, but in deliberately in the reverse order. So there's like accepted staples of what's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and he deliberately did it the other way around to piss people off, and it's the most attention we've ever got. Yeah. Because he pissed people off.
Yeah.
And then the caption was like it's a joke.
Yeah, calm down, it's a joke. Yeah.
Well, I can't remember the exact word for it, but we discussed it previously. Is that when people are pissed off or your haters actually tend to be your biggest fans because they're the ones that will push you in front of everybody else more than say because if I think if you have a good experience with someone, you tell 3 people. If you had a bad experience, you tell 10 people.
Yeah.
Now, of course, if you multiply that over the whole social media sphere, it's easier to garner attention. Notoriety, and garner attention from doing something or saying certain things that will irritate people because then they'll push you in front of, they'll be slagging you off to everybody and that will get your name out there a lot quicker than, being kind.
Because I think where you were coming from, I agree with in respect of if you're saying, if you take it as, it's good to be dangerous, it's like, well, and then what? We go back to a feudal, like fiefdom, where it's the right of might, so just strength itself is the winner. I think that's not the point, but I agree that's not right.
I think it was the self-control point he was making, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the fact that you are still nice at the end of it. Yeah. I think because you want a fully rounded human being for everyone, really. You want someone who is compassionate and kind and generous and thoughtful and funny, but equally capable of anger and violence in defence of the people you love and the things you stand for and everything like that.
When required.
Because I've had situations that you and I've spoken about before. Like I've had, so my first girlfriend that I had a situation where we were in a club and these 3 guys were physically harassing her.
Jesus.
And if I had not had the upbringing I had, or if I was not capable of violence at that point, I would have been powerless. Fortunately, I had the upbringing. I was not powerless, and I got her away. Physically.
Yeah.
Because it's all very nice. It's all very well and good to think of. It's better to be nice overall, so there's no dangerousness. But it's like, unfortunately, we don't live in that. We live in a place where other people are not nice people, and good people should be able to be ready to deal with bad people. Because, if I had not had the upbringing or the training or the capabilities I had, that could have ended in a myriad of horrific ways that evening.
And as you say, you would have been powerless, which would have made it even worse because coming away from it, your girlfriend would have probably been like,
stand there impotently.
Wow, this guy did nothing for me.
Yeah, while X happened to me or whatever. Yeah.
And I think, especially in terms of women's, I don't know if it's mentality or, you know, going back to, we said previously, back in 500, 1,000 years ago, women needed to be protected because obviously the world was a lot far more dangerous than it is these days in terms of, you know, just everyday life.
Yeah.
They needed effectively a protector, someone to look after them and their children, and I think they've still got that in their subconscious. And if they see that you're weak and you can't protect them, in, you know, when required, then they'll, you know, more than likely go and find someone else, won't they?
Makes sense. It's just, you know, self-preservation, really.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. To be fair, like the Jordan Peterson thing, this is not based on me doing loads of research, whatever. Like, you know, you see little clips of someone over the years, and you kind of build up like a tiny picture of your head of what it might be. It's very, very loose, very whatever.
Yep.
And I've seen kind of him responding to, you know, people who he responds very, very interesting to people when they try to challenge him. And there's a lot of things like, look how he roasted this person, roasted this person, and a lot of it is, I don't know, it's like him wrenching the subject to something else entirely, which, you know, fair enough, you know, that's something, but I don't know, I just don't get the sense that I would want to be basing the philosophy of my life off this person.
Fair. I mean, if you were to have that for anyone, it's like basing your philosophy of life off the Bible. It's like, that's a mistake. It should be as many books as you can read.
Exactly,
I agree on that
from
respect. Yeah, there's a friend of mine who, they worked with someone who was so obsessed with Peterson that they could quote like all of his rules and shit back to him, and you're like, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a bit.
But that's not
intense.
But that's not indicative.
What were they like as a person? Were they all right?
They were a lunatic apparently.
Right.
But that's not indicative of Peterson. That's indicative of that person who's got a screw loose that they need to hero worship someone.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. Yeah, hero worship.
Yeah, but no.
Which again, you give your power to somebody else, basically, don't you?
Yeah, I know where you're getting from, because what people have done, I say people, he's going through a lot of legal battles at the minute, which are just absurd. Because he's pushed back against so much that the Canadian government has done over the last 10 years or so, his university is trying to get him suspended from his doctoral license, and he has to, I think if I remember the quote right, he has to have social media re-education training. Is what the courts are trying to mandate him. Which is fucking
if
terrifying.
We go back to the original concept of why he started, that's a draconian government or organisation trying to control what he says and does.
Yeah.
Now, if you've got a doctorate, surely once you've got a doctorate, that's it. They can't take that away from you. That's knowledge that you've learned and you've accrued over the years. How can that be taken away from you unless
it's just because
they give you electrodes to the brain and make you forget it? Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, that's Clockwork Orange right there.
What's that?
Clockwork Orange is a film set in Russia, where they take these like juvenile delinquents and literally like hook their eyelids open and just get them to stare at the shit while they zap them, and they just fry the brain cells.
Jesus.
But Peterson needs to be. He's like the clips you've seen would be stuff that'd be like curated or just like taken out of context.
They do that a lot with social media.
Yeah,
they'll
massively.
Take things out of context.
He shines in
clip a bit that makes it look
like a monster.
Exactly. Yeah.
He shines in any long form podcast. He's a phenomenal person to listen to. Like,
to be fair,
incredible.
A lot of the clips that I saw were like, you know, the opposite. They were saying like there's that same music on every single like dong 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 dong.
Right.
Where I've kind of got like. Yeah, so
if there's music,
and it's and it's him sort of saying something like, be a man. Basically, it's got be a man quote, and you know, sometimes I'm like, that could be quite motivational.
Yeah.
A lot of times I'm like, that just sounds a bit dumb. But once again, I'm dumb because I can't remember.
Well, look, we're all dumb.
We're all dumb, just pretending that we remember these things.
Yeah. I haven't gone on like. I've tried to really cut down on my social media anyway, and I feel like it's kind of removed me quite nicely from all of that to the point where I can focus on what I want to.
A lot of social media is it tries to push your thoughts into a certain direction, and I've found, when you brought up the point about the music, I've actually found that when there's backing music to something like that, a small clip of someone's, podcast or, just, a normal conversation, the music is usually put there to invoke a certain feeling.
Yeah, it's very true.
The emotional response to
Very
what
true.
they're saying. And then they have like a little caption saying something.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you start seeing it, you're like, oh my God, he said that. Blah, 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 and people start going crazy for it. And you realise it's just a short clip.
Yeah.
Physically produced to, push your attention or your direction into a certain way.
I'll find one for you because he has a bit where he went into a bar in like New Orleans or something. He's describing the guitarist playing, and he's describing how it's like a transcendent, like spiritual existence, and he just starts crying. And it's amazing listening to him because you're just completely enraptured by him describing this whole thing about what it's like to be in this crowd of all these people and this amazing musician who's taken us all along this journey and stuff, and he's literally crying as he's describing it, and it was it's fascinating, really fascinating.
Yeah, the social media thing, I didn't realise how much it was taking over my life until I kind of got it onto my old phone, didn't get it on my new phone, and it just feels like,
like a weight lifted.
Yeah, just, that's not there anymore. Like, I'm not losing 20, 30 minutes at a time. And if I'm watching something, it's because I want to watch it.
Yeah.
And
but it's not being pushed into your psyche,
exactly,
effectively.
I mean, to be fair, it's also because I've happened to find this sort of, I guess, the apps and the, like, content creators almost have their own stuff now. Like, I watch Dropout TV, which has, like, the old college humor guys. They have, like, this is the nerdiest shit ever. People playing Dungeons and Dragons. I'm watching people playing Dungeons and Dragons. But
that's nerdier than playing Dungeons and Dragons.
That is nerdier,
I'm the bottom of the fucking food chain, baby. You Jordan Peterson people are somewhere up here. I'm Dungeons and Dragons, baby. 30 minutes of that, I can just like watch that while I'm doing the dishes or while I'm doing it. And then just turn it off and it's it's like
it's done. Yeah, I'm with you.
And I'm not there thinking like, but I need just a little bit more, just a little bit more. It's like, no, this is a Dungeons and Dragons game.
Yes, you're a passive consumer at that point. Like, to be an active consumer, specifically with stuff that is like specifically engineered to make it as addictive as possible. You're there just like go to the next one.
I don't know about you guys, but I find I don't really use. YouTube is probably the only social media I would say I use, and I find the great thing about it is when you subscribe to the certain podcasts or channels you subscribe to, they don't really push you anything else other than from those people. Say like you're on Instagram or something like that, or Facebook, they will push to you similar people, or you've looked on a post or something like that, and then I'll start pushing you loads of those posts which you're not really interested in. You might have just clicked on it or even accidentally did it in your pocket or something like that. They'll start properly hammering those towards you. Whereas with YouTube, as I say, I find that it pretty much only brings up the stuff that you follow and want to listen to, which makes it a lot easier, as you say, to not. We've talked about it before, like you go into a scroll hole, like on Instagram or something like that, you end up just like flicking through and you're like, oh, and then like 20 minutes is gone and you're like,
like what the fuck did I just do?
I've gained nothing from that. But with YouTube, you log on, you see a video or someone you follow and you think, right, I'm going to watch their newest video, blah 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 blah. You watch that, you watch it and you're done. Do you know what I mean? You're not.
Actually, on my YouTube, on my computer, I now have a feed replacer. So instead of seeing the YouTube feed with all the other videos, it just has an inspirational quote.
Nice.
And I think the one the other day was do or do not, there is no try, Yoda.
Very good.
So,
very
like,
good.
Nice.
That's very good. I like that.
Time to look at Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's what they get you.
Yeah. And I thought I had them, but they still had me.
We thought it was over.
Inspirational quote. Have you seen this link? You're like, fuck.
Try scrolling down. Yeah. We were discussing Star Wars on the way over as well.
Yeah.
And I was massive. I was pretty big on Star Wars.
Likewise, mate. Yeah,
well,
for ages.
The thing I love about Star Wars, especially different to a lot of movies these days, is there is, it's a proper hero's journey with, inspiration in being, a good human being, training, looking after your family, all the sort of good aspects.
Everything Joseph Campbell will be happy with.
Yeah.
And the sequel trilogy also.
God, that's so bad.
I've only watched the first one. So I haven't.
You only saw Force Awakens?
Yeah, I think that's it.
And you didn't watch the other two?
No.
Keep it that way.
Yeah.
It just nosedives off a cliff. Yeah. Force Awakens was basically just a better version
of it. A bit like Thor 4.
Huh?
A bit like Thor 4.
Exactly, yeah.
Thor 4, yeah. That wasn't easy to say.
I think that's why I think after like 2 they were like, yeah, we're not going to call it 3 and 4, we're just going to, give it names.
Yeah.
Here's a good question that people always ask is, if someone famous could play you, who would you get? Who would you get to play you in a movie?
To play me in a movie?
Yes. Imagine there's a movie of this podcast.
Yeah, I was going to say, no one's going to go watch that movie. My life's not that interesting.
That will happen. It will be fucking... Yeah, like Matt Damon and Michael Fassbender sat across from each other just talking. People were like, what's going on?
In an office.
Yeah.
You must look like someone famous. I'm just trying to look at you. There's definitely someone out there who would play you, who must be...
See, I've had that as well. People were like, you look like an actor, but no one's able to tell me which actor it is.
You should be the actor.
I should be the actor.
Play yourself.
No, I did go to a job the other day, and I couldn't really see it, but the bloke's a handsome chap, so I thought, look, I'll take that compliment.
Mm-hmm.
With me, I'm happy with that one.
Boy George.
No, yeah. It's all about the hair, isn't it? No, have you seen Batman Returns?
What?
The second one?
Yeah.
What's the second one?
What, Christian Bale one?
Yeah.
The guy, Two-Face.
Two-Face.
Yeah.
That's
the
what
guy
she
from
said.
Battle Los Angeles.
Okay.
That's it,
Yeah.
Do you know what? Yeah.
You reckon?
Yeah,
okay.
You haven't got the butt chin, but yeah, I get
Oh,
that.
yeah, that's the butt chin.
Yeah, he has a
that,
massive large chin, doesn't he? Yeah. See, I would have said kind of like Charlie Hunnam.
You could hide it. You could hide it with a little...
Yeah, with a little bit.
Yeah,
I would have said Charlie Hunnam for you.
Who's Charlie Hunnam?
Charlie Hunnam is he's
green.
green.
Yeah. He's really small.
Twins. What's that? No, he's Green Street. He's Pacific Rim.
Yes.
The
Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
No, he's a good lad. Yeah.
That's quite good.
He's a fucking good actor. He's really good.
Because he's English, isn't he?
Yeah. He's
a Brummie, isn't he?
Yeah. So Green Street is his. The gentleman is his accent.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Because he's there like, hey Fletcher, you fucking cunt. Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know the person that someone said.
You've obviously thought about this before, then.
No,
who would play
Oscar Isaac.
That's the one.
Yeah,
so
Oscar Isaac.
Someone in the audience actually said to me, "You look like Oscar Isaac."
Yeah.
Who's Oscar Isaac?
Oscar Isaac is Force Awakens. He's Poe.
He's Poe in Force Awakens. He's Moon Knight. He is.
Of course, it's Moon Knight. He's Sucker Punch. He's Triple Frontier. He's.
What's his name? Oscar
Isaac. Oscar Isaac, I think.
Yeah.
Not that I've googled it.
Yeah. got a picture on the wall.
Is that what you do at night? You're there like Oscar Isaac. Oh,
yeah. I imagine he's mean.
You're like, is it weird to touch myself to myself? Is that weird? Yeah, pictures of yourself.
I think I look like Oscar Isaac looking at himself with a spoon.
Explains the hair. It's the distortion from up here.
Yes, yeah. Explains the nose.
All right, well that's you two sorted. Now we've got to figure out one for me.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think. It's tricky, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't think there is one.
I mean, to be fair, I could go straight down the line and say Sabretooth from Wolverine.
What? Liev Schreiber?
Yeah.
No.
You got the hair.
Can I not just be Hugh Jackman then?
And the long nails.
Can I not be Hugh Jackman?
Nah, you're Sabretooth.
Why am I Liev Schreiber?
I like it. I'm trying to look at the facial features, but the perfect hair just keeps getting in the way. He just had a haircut, so he's
I don't have perfect hair. He's got perfect hair. I don't have perfect hair.
Oh mate, mine's going.
You just said he was from Green Street. He's the guy from Green Street.
He is. He's Charlie Hunnam. Look at him. No, sorry. He's oh fuck. Who's Frodo? Who's also in it?
Frodo.
What is that?
He's Elijah Wood. I love him as well in that.
I think I'm a little bit taller than Elijah.
I love him in that because he's just like full on American. This little guy just like wandering around.
Yeah.
And
he's just Frodo in that film. like Daniel Radcliffe, he will always be Harry Potter in every film.
Have you seen it?
He will forever be.
She'll just say that like. Oh,
look at
that's
Harry Potter.
No, it's Daniel No.
It's Harry Potter.
Yeah.
She's
right.
Tom Hanks. I've been trying to tell her
it's Forrest Gump.
Tom Hanks for fucking years.
It's Forrest
Gump.
Gump.
Every time she's just like, Forrest Gump. Okay,
she's doing it just to fuck with you, mate. That's why. It's her fault.
Yeah. Thor, Forrest Gump, Harry Potter. They don't have real names.
I mean, fair enough for Chris Hemsworth. Fair enough.
But has he been in anything else? Well, he must have, but I haven't seen anything.
Guys, don't you remember everyone's favourite film? Men in Black?
What, the third one?
Fuck
Yeah! No, the fourth
that is.
one.
I haven't seen the fourth one.
That's also with what's her face from Ragnarok.
Yes.
So she's in that as well.
What's it called?
Oh, never been blackout. I don't know. No, but Cabin in the Woods. That's Chris Hemsworth.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
Oh, dude, it's a horror film, but it's also not a horror film because they've taken the piss out of it.
Guys, I forgot about everyone else's other favourite film. Sorry, Men in Black International.
Yeah, that's
I'm talking about the new Ghostbusters.
There's a new one.
That's Paul Rudd.
No, not that one. The one before that.
Oh, well, the girls, the boys are back, and this time they're girls.
With the SNL
with dicks.
Yes. Chicks with dicks,
to be fair, it's a shame that, I mean, they could have actually done something good with that, but I looked at some of the scenes and stuff, and it was very much, basically they were SNLing it. As in they were doing SNL like sketch stuff, but also whilst.
See, the Paul Rudd one I can get on more on board with.
Yeah, to be fair, I never saw that either.
Oh, I haven't either, but I can get because the preference is.
I can get on board with this, but I'm not going to see it.
What did I see? I saw Ocean's 8. I saw Ocean's 8.
Ooh.
Which I was quite apathetic about because I thought it was going to be terrible because it's Ocean's 11, obviously, but just with it's supposed to be Sandra Bullock as
his cousin, sister. Right. Okay,
yeah. You know what? It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Oh really?
No, it was. There were some bits that you were there just like, okay, but you've got Kate Blanchett again, so she plays the Brad Pitt character. But it's funny with stuff like this because you've seen Always Sunny in Philadelphia, right?
I've seen bits of it. Yeah.
Okay, because there's a trope in that where they go on the whole gang, which is the main characters, which is the three guys, one of the characters' sister, and then Danny DeVito. And the whole premise of that is they have to fly from Philadelphia to Los Angeles, and they have to drink 50 beers or whatever in like 4 hours. And then a few seasons later, they do the exact same thing with all the girls. And one of the girls is like, I don't understand why we have to do exactly what the men did. Why can't we just do our own thing? And it's such a good point. It's like, why is it with female reboots? Why the whole character's like, why do we have to do what the men did? Can't we just do our own thing?
Yeah.
And the other one's like, shut up, bitch. It's like, no, we're doing this.
Actually,
we're doing exactly the same.
We're doing the exact same.
I watched.
We're gonna do it better. It's like, well, just do your own thing. Don't recreate the same thing. I was saying just how I saw Ocean's 8. Go on.
Sorry, I saw Black Panther and Wakanda Forever.
Oh god, Black Panther.
I know what I meant. I also want to see that film. That
you were talking about Kung Fu Panda.
I was going to say Kung Fu Panda.
What a film! What a series! I love that shit.
Kung Fu Panda's amazing.
Jack Black.
Oh, amazing!
I think he's everyone's hero.
Wakanda Forever. Fuck it. Let's talk about
Black Panther. Here we go. What did you think?
No, I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was amazing. I thought it was about the same level as the first Black Panther. I
found them both very underwhelming.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I like the first one.
You see the second?
Did you see the second?
I've seen the first one. I haven't seen the second one.
Okay.
I think it's worth it. I think if you like the first, you like the second. They're both decent. And to be fair, the second one's a bit of like because you see like the Chadwick Boseman tribute.
Yeah, he's basically like the African Iron Man, isn't he? But wealthier and with.
I don't know about wealthier. He's got better tech though.
Yeah, that's
all. Serious tech.
Yeah.
Serious tech. But I like how they do it. I like how they kind of wrestle with the fact that he's not there, but they still make like some of the fighting stuff. They're still badasses.
Oh yeah.
So how did it work then? Does he like die in the film?
Yes. Yeah. They don't say why.
They write him out.
They don't say why, but they're just like, oh, they're fighting for his life, and then he's just dead.
Yeah, it's like a disease or something. So
they have this massive ceremony about him.
I'm glad they do that because I do not want to see
another CGI Paul Rudd. Paul Walker. Paul Walker.
Yeah.
Sorry, Paul Rudd's not dead.
I don't want to see Grand Moff Tarkin or
that was fucked up, wasn't it?
That kind of
or
stuff.
fucking Carrie Fisher.
I don't want to see that. I mean, to be fair,
sorry, you missed it.
I feel like
I know, but those last two,
Grand Moff Tarkin is in A New Hope, which he's the guy who
New Hope
plays the flaws.
Star Wars Episode 4.
A New Hope.
He's the guy that's basically he's in charge of that Imperial battalion that's taken Princess Leia. So he's the one like talking shit with her, and then Vader stood in the background being all asthmatic. And, so that's Grand Moff Tarkin. So he's like the leader.
Yeah, he's the guy who you may fire when ready.
You may fire when ready. All that shit. And they're like, but then they see in the Force Awakens, they CGI him in, and for a minute, Rogue One, sorry, because it goes straight into A New Hope, and you're there looking at it going, there's something really holy shit, because they've just CGI'd him straight in, and you're like, what the fuck?
If someone said that they could give you £100,000, but they get to use your likeness and CGI it onto the weirdest fucking porn in imagine the weirdest dark shit on the internet,
like midget porn.
Okay, let's say the stuff that short.
That's pretty standard for you.
It's not illegal, but it's fucking weird. Would you do it? And they can use it forever. Like even if you die,
I'd need a lot more than 100.
Yeah.
100 grand's not a lot more.
Not forever. No, I can't do the Bruce Willis thing where he's just giving his likeness to Russia.
Okay, what? So for 10 years, they can take your likeness and they can just do what they want.
10 grand a year.
That's only 10 grand a year. Yeah.
Really?
You can just not have it. Not take that 100.
Fine.
100 G's.
Yeah, I'd rather not be in some weird horse porn.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it would be something fucking weird as well.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to use this face. We're going to fucking make it right.
It won't be illegal, but it'd be the weirdest we can possibly make it.
Yeah.
There is a...
All 34 on the internet.
There is a film... It's called something...
I'm going to ask a weird question after this.
That's all right. There's a film which is called something like... it's not Zoo. It's something Zoo. But it came out in the early 2000s and was basically a documentary for people who do bestiality about a guy who likes to get fucked by horses.
Oh.
And he died in the filming.
Oh, no.
I'm not surprised.
Because the horse killed him.
What, as in, how did it kill him?
How do you think?
Like, what, trampled him?
No.
Just fucked him?
It went through him, probably.
Through him. He died of internal bleeding.
Oh, no, that's
For anyone who hasn't seen a horse
what
kick...
a way to go. I mean, if there's a baseline, that's it.
Public service announcement. For anyone who hasn't seen a horse stick, you need to either watch the film Freddy Got Fingered or just Google a horse stick. Because those things are...
What's the name of this podcast, by the way?
Just Discourse.
Just Discourse.
Just Discourse. Straight from the horse's mouth.
Hey! But yeah, that thing is literally elbow to fist. That is a horse stick. Well,
probably bigger than that.
That's going to come up, as they say in as Tom Cruise says in Tropic Thunder. He's just like, my fist is going to be so far up your arse, your thoughts are going to have to tiptoe past my wedding ring.
I watched that the other day.
What a film! Whenever you think it's got to go past my wedding ring.
They'd never be able to make a film like that these days.
What's the weirdest porn you've seen? What's the weird? What's one of the? Okay, I won't ask for the weirdest. But what's a really weird porn that you've seen? Was just for uniqueness.
That you happen to click on.
Yeah, like you saw by accident, or that someone else.
Or hang on, because there's two different questions. Is it the one you happen to click on, or the one that made you come?
That's the second question.
Those are two different questions.
No, to be fair, there's been times where I'm like, why have I done that? I'm just disappointed. You just.
How did I finish to that?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm disappointed in you.
I'm disappointed.
It's because it's the law of There's a evolutionary biologist who's created she's come up with a term called the law of fapentropy.
Right, okay.
Whereas basically you keep jerking yourself off until it gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse.
Really?
Because you keep searching.
Because so you're going for
so you need the next level up.
Because porn is an unnatural state. It's a super normal stimuli. You keep trying to reach the next level of stimulation.
That's really so.
Because you're there just because you're there going from blowjob in a bar. They're like, okay, I'll blowjob in a shopping centre at like midday. You're like, whoa, that's racy. You're like, for example.
Well, look, I can tell you something which is quite on that subject.
Here we go.
And it was like almost an art film. But then
is that what they call it?
The best ones are.
Yeah. So for instance, this guy. So our flatmates. This is not our flatmate in real life.
Yeah.
Life.
Oh yeah. No shit. Not in fantasy world.
So she's from Hong Kong, and her boyfriend gave her some blank CDs that he got from the Chinese market. Nice. Not all of them were blank.
Nice.
Not all of them were blank.
That's good.
So immediately we found out with porn, and we did what any good students do.
Watch them.
Let's sit down and watch them together.
Yes.
So family porn time. So we sat down and we watched it, And
I'm so glad I didn't go to university.
Yeah, same.
mate, it opens up your mind.
Yeah.
Well,
And other things.
Right. When can you make or?
Yeah. Well, do you know? We did it with our clothes on. You know?
Oh, that's okay.
You can
Over
make
the top.
later.
Yeah.
Over the top.
Just rubbing.
Yeah.
Just polishing a car. Don't worry about it.
Get your chode out.
It's not gay if you don't actually touch it.
It's not
Yeah,
gay
yeah,
if you don't make eye contact. It's fine.
That's true, yeah.
That's jiu-jitsu for you.
And they only do eye contact.
He said that earlier when he was eating breakfast.
Well, you've got to make sure you enjoy it. So, Just Discourse.
That's what we're here
yeah,
wow.
Just Discourse is sponsored by Assert Dominance.
And Fleshlight.
for. Yeah.
Flashlight.
Oh, that would be a good sponsor, actually.
The
Well, I wouldn't use
the porn
it. It'd
DVD.
waste
Guys,
of
let's talk about important things.
Sorry,
The porn
go on.
DVD.
What was on it? What was
The
on it?
porn DVD.
The uni porn DVD.
The uni porn DVD.
Yeah.
And there was a dude in a wheelchair who basically had this like, family.
That's a great start.
This dude was cleaning house. I mean, you know, as soon as everyone saw that guy in the wheelchair, I was like, we gotta fuck him. Like, I'm gonna fuck him right now. And
On the
but
porn
then-
film, right? Yeah.
But here's the
No,
thing.
that was just Jamie.
For a while,
Yeah.
like it was a ramping up tension of drama to the point where someone got murdered.
That was the porn.
In the porn film.
Someone got murdered in the porn film.
That's amazing.
Because he fucked them?
No.
or-
There was like a husband or something, and blah blah, and he suddenly jumped it down the thing or something, or got murdered.
Interesting.
But then you know, just throughout that, people just fucking, people just going at it, blowjobs under the dinner table. There was a really
Standard
beautiful shot in the tree of some leaves. It's like, back to a blowjob, like just really.
Yeah, fair.
Arty.
The hard
Really
cuts
arty,
were on point.
There's just some lovely boom shots going on here.
Yeah. It was. It was a
that
lovely
literally would be the boom
experience.
shot, there you
That
go.
was one of the weirdest things that I think. Just because of the fact of they
They
make
wrote
this
in a
artistic.
murder.
Yeah.
They weren't. I feel like there's some people who know that there's porn and they do hilarious shit in it, and then at the end of the day, people fuck.
Well, that's
I mean,
one
this
thing.
It was like I felt like they were really going for something.
Yeah.
You know,
They were trying to make it like a French artiste
like,
film or something.
They were one threesome away from an Academy Award.
Really.
Oh, I get
just,
ya.
An
just
Oscar.
one too many.
Yeah.
So I feel like you asked the question because you've got an answer for this. When you
No.
asked
you had
me,
something to
I
share.
didn't have an answer.
I
but what is the
remembered
weirdest
the answer.
porn you have watched? What's the, as you say, the most dangerous?
The most dangerous.
The one where you watched it and you just had to have a shower afterwards because you hated yourself.
Oh, I think it's something to do with like the Pain Olympics was awful.
That's not porn though. That's not porn.
That's something.
No,
horrific, no?
Well, like
No,
when they
no,
like
no.
cut themselves and shit.
Yeah, that's not porn though,
Yeah,
mate.
they did like heroin or something.
No, because there's no sex.
Jesus.
There's no sex though. That's just naked people cutting bits of them off.
Is
Oh,
pornography
God,
described
couldn't
then
watch
as
that.
someone they have to have sex in?
Yeah, it has to be a sexual act because the point of it is you're giving pleasure. There is some pleasure involved.
Pretty
in
sure
that.
there's a lot of porn where there's no pleasure going on in any way.
Yeah.
I
Most of those women don't look like they're enjoying themselves.
Well, they're not very good actors.
Have you seen
Yeah.
the porn- have you seen porn bloopers?
Porn bloopers.
Yeah,
No.
it's like where they accidentally go in the wrong hole and then it's like yeah.
There's
Some serious stuff.
How did we get onto the subject?
he started. There's
I'm pretty sure it was Max if I remember.
So yeah, you're right. Yeah. So one of my
That's something he
favorite
would
one of my favorite
Yeah,
podcasts.
yeah. Let's throw this on me.
One of my favorite podcasts to listen to is one called Your Mum's House, which is hosted by two comedians.
Yeah.
And the guy, the things he finds hilarious is like the sexually macabre, and the woman finds like feces hilarious. So it's a hell of a combination.
Yeah. And they're husband and wife. Aren't
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's an incredible dynamic. And he basically said, "Oh, I watched this porn blooper the other day that he found hysterical, and it basically was this girl had done like a gangbang scene or whatever." And then afterwards they're like, "Oh yeah, it's all good. How are you feeling?" She's like, "Yeah, that was fun actually. That was pretty good." And then she was like, "Oh, you know, that's just gonna give me a DVD copy and then delete it, that kind of thing." And they were like, "No, this is porn, love, and we're gonna put it out there." And she's like, "Wait, so everyone's gonna see it?" And they were like, "Yeah, it was in the contract you signed." And she just starts crying, and then Tom's like howling, laughing at this lady because he's like, "How did you not know?
Yeah.
How did you not know that this
That's-
was what you just signed up?
that's
You
incredible.
fucking signed
Oh,
right
my
here."
days.
That was
And so he's
incredible.
like crying, he's laughing so hard.
And she read that.
She
She read
read
the
it.
contract less than she did
The
getting
porn.
gangbanged.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
literally.
mean?
Literally. And she was like, but so everyone's going to see
I
this?
don't
And
think
you're like,
this was on her mind.
and you're like,
No,
what
no,
the
no.
fuck? It's just like, how did you not read that?
Yeah.
I've thought of one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. It's fucking
Well,
hilarious.
I've got to go in about 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's fine. That's a good thing to end on. Go on.
Oh, is it though? It's pretty fucking weird. I'm pretty sure it's like
Do it and I'll cut it.
it's some like
immediately.
animation thing of
Okay.
I think it's really fucking weird. I was like, oh god, it was Lara Croft and like some sort of insect thing, big insect. Oh, it was. Ugh.
Right.
I
Monster.
I didn't even click on the thumbnail. I was just like,
That's some like.
okay, no,
That doesn't
already finished.
count. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mate,
Oh.
if it's just thumbnail, that doesn't count.
No, I can't watch that. I mean,
It's just
Jesus.
what, Japanese tentacle porn. Who hasn't done that when you're 12? Come on.
Yeah, but like this is like it was an
Jesus.
insect. It's like, oh god, just no, it's
Yeah,
not
that's-
cool. It's like
that's
a
some
big
real-
life-size insect. It's like, oh, come on, man.
And his dick was bigger than yours.
That's why he was upset.
That's why
He
he
was like, I'm not
liked
watching
it.
this
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Don't make me feel
Fuck you,
self-conscious
say
about
that.
myself.
This
Fuck, don't do
insect
it.
is bigger than me.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Well, I think that's a very good point to end on. So
Is it? Surely is there not like 30 seconds or something else we can quickly switch to?
No,
not have to
so-
have that as the last thing.
At the end.
Jamie, thank you very much for being here. Where before you go, where can people find you?
So I'm just gonna get one tape of this, and then like it's never gonna go.
It won't be going
Won't be
anywhere.
going
no, yeah.
anywhere? Good.
I mean, did you sign a contract?
Oh shit.
Where can people find you, mate? What's your Instagram?
Musical JUUA.
Lovely.
Find me there. There's none of that stuff we just talked about there at the end,
Sorry.
but maybe there's other stuff about music related potentially.
Indeed stuff. Awesome. Lovely stuff. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. Thank you for watching as well. You know what to
Assert
do.
your dominance.
Assert dominance.
Wide legs.
Rate and subscribe.
Take care, guys.
Oh.